have your motivations for practice changed over time? You know, what may have started you on the path may have evolved. I think this is, for myself, is something that constantly evolves. I'm interested in these practices, but sometimes I feel a pull towards I've got a new reason for doing it, or I've got a new energy or a momentum or an impetus or something that makes me want to do a specific aspect of it more. Or I don't know. I'm just going to ask you, Manuela, like, how have your motivations for practice changed over time?
Well, I guess it's sort of like just evolved over time, different going through different stages. Like, obviously a long time ago, I was, a qualified physiotherapist, and I was not spiritual at all. Like, even meditation was just some, woo-woo the people in the forest, love and light people would do. And then, I sort of like just almost like started to wake up, I had some experiences where I was like, oh my God, like, what is that? That's not possible. And then, just the curiosity, I guess. And then just wanting to know more. And I guess the curiosity always stayed with me, but also sort of like the analogical mind, like, how real is this? How true is this? Like, not just taking everything like, okay, if somebody said this for truth, I would be like, oh, my sort of like scientific mind would come in and really go, what's the background about this? Sort of like, looking into more facts, so to say, as well. And, I guess the curiosity still stayed, or to always like be that student, so to say, to want to know more, have an open mind. And initially it was almost like a spiritual FOMO, I wanted to know this, and explore it all and experience it all. And, and then as you practice, you sort of like get some insight, you get some realizations, and then it's more about, I guess, sort of like, it's almost like a relationship rather than just something mental. Because as you go through your day, your environment always reflects what is going on inside you, or what is happening energetically to you. So, if your motorbike or your car get dint, that means actually somebody's attacking you in the astral, and then it's good to tune in to listen. Or you're walking through the streets, and all of a sudden, you notice your energy has shifted, you're not feeling great, and then knowing how to read the energy, what were my thoughts, what are the shops around, what are the people around, are there any, natural cleansing mechanisms around, or what energy is present. And it's sort of like that everyday life to, I guess, engage in everything, read everything that's happening. Like yesterday, we went snorkeling to the shipwreck, and it was just amazing, and then engaging with the fish, and you're getting the fish to come and making connections, I guess, that if you can get onto that, because everything is, frequency, vibration. So if you can get onto that frequency, like, things happen. And it's sort of my curiosity for, I guess, for life, for the unseen realm, meeting new beings, with traveling around. You're sleeping in different hotel rooms, you always have interesting spirits pop in. And those experiences just, the richness of life. And also staying connected with friends that you can share ideas and experiences.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. That was lovely. Michael, how have your motivations for practice changed over time?
Well,
and have they? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a very big question, probably triple loaded there. So let's have a look at it from the beginning. When I first started this work, obviously I had a martial arts background, and the main thing, I believe, meditation was a very good rescue tool for calming the mind, dealing with a lot of emotional pressures in society and from family and peer groups and many other aspects that would come along, depending on where other people come from. But what it did for me, it did change over the period of time. As rather than just being the student meditating, you become the teacher, then obviously the master of the teacher of the but you're still always the student, and you're also very quite humbled with it. The beauty is I've found to go deeper into the physical body and the astral body, because within the physical body in the meditation, I'm finding that a galaxy within itself, into the cells, into the vessels, people regenerating wounds from the past. They can remove a lot of their own trauma, family karmic aspects. Big stuff gets moved. But there's many different aspects that have been put on the table here, because one can connect with nature in a beautiful way. Like, once again, we were snorkeling yesterday, and once again, trying to explain the experience is like trying to pour an ocean into a teacup and present it to somebody. You're connecting to infinite life force there with the fishes. You're in a Zen meditative state. You're physically there, but you're also going into very deep, uncharted waters. It's quite challenging. It can be mentally for people and emotionally. However, in the training, you just stay relaxed, and no matter what happens, you're in a safe space because you chose this experience. It's going to be all right, without going into any of the old mechanisms of fear or panic or hyperventilation or anxiety or overanalysis. Just be there. Other areas where the training has changed, when I have a very engineering, construction based background, working with tools and equipment, I become very much at one with things. You can see if something's out with your eye. You can pick up any tool and you move into the energy of it. Remember, even though it's a mechanized piece of equipment, you become at one with the copper wiring, the brush. The whole tool becomes a part of you, like a sword or a magical weapon, as it were. So the practice, it keeps enhancing, it keeps exhilarating. Once again, the meditations I've been doing with some of the advanced practitioners, we go into atomic structures, we move into metal intelligences, such as advanced metals like platinums and iridiums and things like this. So you're becoming at one with organic, which would normally be inanimate objects. So that the discipline keeps growing, and I'm still the student. I'm still that young inquisitive explorer. And this is, once again, it ties back neatly into the dream states and the meditation experiences. Once again, you have an empathic aspect, as you would with nature on many levels, as well as you have to work in societies or systems. Okay, for example, I go into I work in the middle of the desert. I'm in an underground mine. I'm working on a bridge, and this is actual experiences that I've had. Or even a machine. I immediately tap into it. It's like an instant communication, just like I'm talking to a pet. Okay, what is wrong with you? Okay, what is right with you? What is okay? I get this analysis, and as soon as you do this, it makes the whole experience a lot more dynamic. It's like the energy of all the molecular structure wants to communicate with you. Now, this sounds like absolute crazy science fiction, but this is the kind of world that one can touch when one's been developing, opening up their hands, not just building energy in the hands, but going through all the elements individually in the hands and the feet. So you get an advanced grounding aspect that you can communicate into nature. Nature's obviously putting up all these plants and things that some people see as poisons, but others as medicines. So as you walk on nature, she's already putting the things out that you need, that is for your body. It's the same as, the metaphors in the astral where the soul is saying, have a look at this. This might be very important for you in the coming days, or this is what's been happening to you. So once again, I think that the practice has become a lot more involved, and it's become my own world as well as I communicate out. As I go further out of the planetary aspects, I go deeper internally as well. So it's that aspect of as within, so without, as without, so within. You are always at that sort of center point. You're in two places at once. And this is, once again, where I believe more advanced techniques come in, where we're working multiverses or multiple dimensions. And it's not just limited to the nature of this planet, but it's, advanced intelligences and principles and many of the other realms as well. So the practices just kept growing and moving, and I'm astounded at it. Still surprises me, and where I thought you get to that point, oh, nothing's going to surprise me because your awareness is 360, 24/7. It's not. You're always going to find another surprise. There's always one more weirdo. There's always one more crazy animal you've never seen. Like, oh wow, wow, is that tree talking? Is that statue talking to me? What? How can that be? So I believe that's a very healthy way of being, like the let's say the advanced ancient adept, and yet you're the young boy, the young person that's experiencing that. It builds a beautiful wealth of life generation.
Wonderful, thank you. What a beautiful, engaging response there. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think this is. I can't see how this isn't a lifelong thing. I've had fluctuations in my own, not interest. I think it's been sometimes, you spend so much time with something, but there's so much more. I think Mark Rasmus said it quite well. You get to that point, you let it go so you can keep rising up. You can find that there's more. I mean, some shiny things on the adventure are repeatable, but they are also, it's time to move on from them. But like you said, there's always surprises. And this is the real fruit for myself. The further I climb up the tree, the sweeter the fruit gets. Nathan, sir, I would very much love to hear your take on this particular question. How have your motivations for practice changed over time?
Yes, my microphone's on. Substantially, just night and day. I think in the beginning, most people who start, especially like Michael, I started with the martial arts side of the path, and you enter martial arts to learn to control the environment around you, to manipulate the environment around you, right? That's how you stay safe. That's how you orchestrate your space, and you learn about space, you learn about distance, you learn about time, you learn about sensitivity and bodies and all these things. And typically the motivations to enter martial arts are coming from some of the worst places. And like many who enter the martial arts, then of course, maybe you find internal martial arts and martial arts that have some aspects of Qigong, whether it's Tai Chi or, ninjutsu or whatever, the list goes on. And so you start to learn about subtle body mechanics and subtleties of mind. And if you think weak, somehow that lock gets you. If you think strong, somehow you manage to get through that. And so you start to learn about, in a sideways manner, you start to learn about the potencies of the mental body, the potencies of the astral body, the fields, physical, all of it starts to open up. But in the beginning, almost anyone who starts anything is looking for ways of manipulating the environment around them. And over time, that starts to hopefully subside. And so I found there's probably one thing that is a constant is that curiosity and wonderment. And that's something that's been with me since I was a child. And this sort of the magic of everything. And I don't know why. It's not something I've ever cultivated. But when I meet these rare people who also have that wonderment, like Michael said, there might be some weirdo, like a statue that's talking to you. Michael, you were one of those weirdos that I was like, oh, that thing's talking. and people you meet that open doors, experiences that you have that open doors. And this comes down to your awareness. Like Manu was mentioning that, you're walking through just your day-to-day experience and you start looking at like the physical symbology, almost the like in a dream, but these physical symbologies of like, oh, what could be happening in the energetic, scape, in the astral landscape, in the mental landscape. And if you are too preoccupied, because she mentioned really eloquently about like mindfulness, being aware of the energy, like in real time, not mindfulness just on your cushion, but real-time mindfulness, and you start to notice these things more and more and more and more. And so there's an excitement there, and you start to unwrap the depths of your meditation in your moment by moment experience, right? To the depths of whatever the practice is. So I've found that this wonderment and curiosity seems to be one of the key things for people who continue in a positive way along the path, right till they're ripe and young, like Mr. Lamb there. As you continue on with this, it's the curiosity, it's that wonderment. And that's been one of those key things. So instead of, say, trying to obsess over particular practices and condense yourself into parameters of what a particular skill might mean, or what a particular attainment might mean, and all this stuff that we can only look at it from below it, right? From at it or above it, it's meaningless. But we look at everything from below and we go, oh my God, that amazing thing, clairvoyance and this and that, the other stuff. And then you start to have like claircognizant and telepathic experience, and you're like, oh, shut up. Right? Like all this stuff that we think of from beneath as such an exciting thing, it's just part of reality. It's just part of what's happening. And I had one of my first meditation teachers once told me that he said that there's this really sad thing that's going to happen is you're going to do all this practice, all this training, and the saddest thing, you're going to, all these interesting things and changes will happen, and like skills and whatever. And the saddest thing is you won't even realize it because you're in it every single day. And so you don't have the differential to be aware, right? Differentiation is what makes awareness possible, is separation. That's how we perceive the difference between one thing and another thing, through differentiation. And so what's cool with the curiosity thing is different things light up. And as Michael was saying, you walk into nature and you can practice the elements in isolation with some fabricated notion of what the elements might be, with some fabricated feeling perception of what earth energy is, what water energy is, what this element, that element, what stuff is. Or you can go like walk barefoot on some earth and you're walking on the earth element. Yet you're also walking on the water element, and you are the water element, and you are the earth element. And you start to breathe. You're like, oh man. And you're breathing. Oh, what's that? I guess that's the air element. But you're walking on the air element, and you are the air element, and you're breathing the air element. And you look at the leaves and the foliage, and like, oh, well, that's breathing the air element. I'm breathing the air element. When I breathe in, am I also breathing out as that foliage, as that tree? And so you start to break open these Akashic barriers through the very, foliage themselves. You spark open the fire element with photosynthesis, and that takes you back into the earth element through the sugar creation, all this stuff. And it's just on and on and on. So there's all these different sort of nerdy ways of looking at things that start to open up. And it's that interconnection and the constant, like, there's the two sides of it. There's the constant next thing, more expansive thing, whether that's expansive outward or inward. At the same time, there's the space in which, or the non-space in which, the truth in which all of that stuff exists and happens, which we could look at from a like Tibetan Buddhist perspective as like, the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya, the truth space, the that bliss light space and then the appearance space. And so you're looking at, like Michael was saying, atomics, and like, I have so much respect. Like Michael flipped me on to so many things that I was just like, what the, what the, I went to one of your, just shameless plug for you guys. I went to one of Michael's Tree of Life workshops, and, you know, I sat down, I was like, what the fuck? like what is all this nonsense? And then, you know, the days go by and I couldn't deny the change. It was undeniable. The change in literal tissue quality of every single person there, like at the tissue level, which means the astral level was pretty crazy, and the mental that much more so, because usually the change is harder to manifest the closer into form it goes. So as you're working with appearance and all of these shiny different curiosities and excitements, you're also working through that dharma dhatu, that truth space, that truth world, that truth body, and you're always working both, and it's constantly growing. And so I find that whether I'm super excited about some particular new aspect of research, or new frequency play, or you know, you're working with a being and doing deity yoga, and it's like, hey, check out this cool thing, and it just runs a bunch of stuff through you, and you're like, yo, that is dope. Um, I I wonder if I can do that again. Immediate error. You know, let's try to reproduce something. So whether it's that or the total dislodging of everything that we think of as us, that makes us in our own brains human or not, or whatever, there's always everything and everything and nothing. End of thought, period. Back to you, Phil.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was getting lost in there. I was getting mesmerized by the thing. You know, I have to say, you know, encountering new information, anytime I catch myself going, oh, this is going to be a load of crap or something, I'm like going, right, in that case, I'm going to put myself in it, unless I really know it's going to be crap. But, you know, but then it's still Judgy McJudgeson here. But yeah, I really liked what you said there about wonderment and curiosity. That's the fuel for life for myself, you know, and cool things to explore. There's a lot of interesting things in the world too. Oh my gosh, can't wait to get back on the plane, you know. But the inner world's pretty amazing too, and being able to just go into the backyard under a tree and just say hi to a myriad of beings at whatever level of reality, however microscopic or macroscopic, it's pretty interesting.